actually believe that they're interacting with another human. So this ideology has been around since the 1950s, but became widely adopted and in practice with rule-based systems and early machine learning that came during the 1980s, right? Then we see the formation of the iPhone in the early 2000s. We see Tesla coming out with computer vision and its ability to navigate roads. We see Netflix coming out, right, and its ability to do predictive analytics. We see all of these big tech companies that are starting to come up around this time. And during my time at Amazon, I was an analytics and AI ML specialist. And so I worked with DocuSign, Lacework, HashiCorp, Tanium, and helping them build out their big data warehousing solution to prep them for AI, right? And so I say this to say AI has been around for quite some time. It's just become widely accessible through companies like OpenAI, through ChatGPT. We then see right in the 2000s with deep learning, right? Speech, vision, recommendations, all of this through Tesla, our Siri. And then we get into the 2020s in which OpenAI released ChatGPT, November of 2021, which changed the game for everybody. Because again, now AI is widely accessible to everyone. I like to set this up because a lot of people think that AI is just this new facade, right, this new hype. And it is because it's become widely adopted now or accessible for everyone. But AI has been around for many years. We are technically in the third industrial revolution. The first was steam and mechanics. That was the early 1700s with the steam engine, right? Everybody was saying, oh, the steam engine is going to take jobs, it's going to replace people, all of these things. Then we see electricity and mass production during the 1800s and 1900s. And now we've entered into what is classified as the third industrial revolution, to which AI is seen as our modern day electricity. It is fueling and is behind every system that we're using right now, right? Much like electricity. If I ask somebody right now, how is electricity made? Can you all tell me exactly how electricity is made? Maybe, right? I'm not expecting that. Right? That's exactly what electricity is around us, right? It's fueling everything that we're doing, much like AI is the backend system, the backbone, the electricity of our systems today. So again, I wanted to set this up from a historical standpoint to break down these barriers that AI is not accessible or AI is something new, because it is not that. So before AI, you typed everything yourself, you repeated the same emails, you kept everything in your head, right? Software only did what you told it. And this really took a lot of time and energy. But what changed when AI came out, specifically around prompt engineering and your ability to query or ask a question or put into that tiny box exactly what you're looking for, prompting it to get an outcome, was the first thing that came about. So today I'm going to cover three things and how businesses are using AI. Right? There's prompt engineering, in which you put that information in, you're prompting. I do have some free certifications for you all if you all want to dive deeper into that. But it's not what you say, it's how you say it and what you're putting in that box to get the outcome that you're looking for. There's AI augmentation. So outside of ChatGPT and you prompting the system, there is AI augmentation in which AI is overlaid into the very systems that we're using. So think Google Workspace, Microsoft Workspace, QuickBooks, all of these SaaS tools that exist and have been around for years are now overlaid with AI. Gone are you having to know the formulas, even in Excel, because you can prompt in Excel and it's overlaid with AI now to get the outcome that you're looking for. So there's prompt engineering, there's AI augmentation, and there's AI agents. And I'll show you all a slide where we're moving from reactive, right, where the system is reacting to what we're putting into the system, to now AI systems are proactively working on behalf of your business as AI workers. And we'll get to that in just a moment. So we see here, right, from marketing to customer service to operations to administration to sales to finance to HR to data, all of these things can now be used, are now being streamlined with AI. So the three levels of AI help, as I was just talking about. AI that responds when you ask, prompt engineering, right? So you put in that box exactly what you're looking for. Hey, I need content generation ideas. I need a blog post that I'm going to be, posting next week. I need a marketing plan. I need an SOP. Whatever that is that you're putting into the system, you're prompting it for an outcome. So AI that responds when you ask. AI that reminds or suggests, right? So AI that is overlaid into the system that can suggest and provide insights and remind you within the system that you're working with, as I mentioned in Google Workspace, when you're typing and it's able to predict the email reminders, follow-ups. Now it even has it within Gemini to where it will compose the message for you and have it sitting in your inbox. All of these things is AI being overlaid into the system. Or now what we're seeing as software as a service moving into AI as a service. The next thing is AI that can take and help you take action. That is AI agents, right? Most small businesses only need level 1 and are really interacting with level 1. We'll get to level 2, right? In their Google Workspace or their Microsoft Workspace, maybe are adopting Copilot or maybe are adopting Gemini within the system. Many businesses are not getting to this, but are wanting to take advantage of this. And we'll talk about exactly what AI agents look like for your business and how they're beneficial for your business as well. I want to make this interactive too, so at any point that you all have questions, please stop me. I want to make this very interactive. So chatbots versus AI agents, or ChatGPT, your Claude, all of those chatbots versus AI agents. What is the difference? So chatbots, as I mentioned, you are putting the information in, you are prompting the system and you're getting an outcome. So it is reacting to what you're saying. It's answering questions, it's limited, and it's scripted. It can only go so far from what you are prompting that system. It's bringing in no other external person or help or whatever that is. It is strictly rule-based with what you put into the system and the outcome that it's giving you. That's different from AI agents proactively working. So gone are you having to say, give me 6 ideas for my marketing content, for my blog. My business is XYZ. I want to talk about this. And then I would like to publish them, 1 every week for the next 6 weeks. No, your AI agent that is a social media manager, right, has all of this configured. So at 8 o'clock every morning, you're actually getting ideas. You then choose exactly which idea you want to write on. It then writes it for you. It can then publish it to multiple platforms for you, etc. So again, when we talk about AI agents versus chatbots, we're moving from reactive to proactive, but we're also proactively automating our workflows and our processes. So what does that mean? Right? So everything that I just mentioned, from me having to go in, type, get the ideas, from the ideas, me then writing, then from the writing piece, then me going to LinkedIn, logging into LinkedIn, publishing all of that is manual processes. Even with AI, there are still a lot of manual processes. And so how do we begin to automate those manual processes and move into agentic workflows, automated workflows? Does this make sense to people before I move on? Yes? Awesome. So let's talk about it. Level 1, AI that responds, right? It's generative. So help me write an email, summarize this meeting, create a checklist, rewrite this more clearly, right? So these are all things that you are prompting or putting into the system. Level 2, AI that suggests, right? So the system will come back. You may want to follow up with this client. This task keeps getting delayed. So something in like Asana or Monday, right? It will come back and say, hey, this task keeps getting delayed. Where are we on this task? Here's a clearer way to say this, right? Or that box that says, in Gemini, write something here, and you can kind of probe it to give you exactly what you're looking for as far as a clearer way to say things. All of that is in there. And then approving, right? So you then approve in the system. Not to say that you are not approving on the agentic side, but it's much more rule-based, right? And so, yes, Eva, and I'll show you all in just a moment with the executive assistant side of things. The executive assistant does not take over your inbox, right? It still has to operate within what it's given, right? So you can only check my inbox, respond to my inbox, but don't send it, only put it in my drafts so then I can go and check it before it's sent out. Also scheduling, right? You can only schedule and take things off, right? But I don't have the system sending out my emails, right? So you still have that ability to approve everything, even on the agentic AI side. So scheduling meetings, organizing systems, drafting follow-ups. Most businesses are not in this side of things because, again, the tools are just now becoming readily accessible. When I talk about workflow automations and SOPs, I first sit down with clients because a lot of clients want to jump right into AI automation without having their processes in place, right? I like to think of AI as garbage in, garbage out. That's from a data side, but it's also from a processing side. So if you as a small business don't have a marketing strategy, don't have right your processes and SOPs in order, all of these things, then AI is probably not the right choice for you to jump right in. It's first defining the problem and what that problem is for your business and how AI can help solve that problem, right? And working backwards from that. So within that problem, what processes or what, what is actually manual within those processes, and then being able to overlay AI on top of the more manual things, because AI is a time saver, right? It's also an amplifier, right? So if you don't have your processes in place, if you don't have your processes in place, then it's going to amplify chaos. So how small businesses are using AI, right? A multitude of different ways, from writing emails, creating flyers, organizing notes, drafting proposals, making checklists, right? So there's AI for everything, for daily tasks, for marketing, for customer communication, right? For organization, all of these different ways to be able to use AI. And before AI, there were a lot of late nights. I can remember whenever I was in high school and college, the AP classes, the IB classes, all of the long, papers and things of that nature, right? And I'm super grateful for that because it taught me one thing around critical thinking. But at the same time, right, if you know the information and are able to pull that information, right, after that, to be able to create a draft in minutes saves so much more time than where we were before. And having clear templates and having more consistency, right? And also more time for our customers outside of the admin specific work. So AI, what AI should not do, it should not make decisions for you, right? It should be a tool that is used to tighten and refine. It should not handle any sensitive information. I want to preface this because a lot of small businesses that I work with as well will begin putting in their financial information, their proprietary SOPs, all of these things around their business they're putting into a model that is ultimately not owned by them. And we were talking about this earlier around if you do have private data, if you are trying to build your own model, we can talk a little bit more about that. This isn't the place for that. But there's definitely things like OLLAMA, right? Llama, to where you can definitely have the data not going outside of the system and you control the system. But for people that are using ChatGPT, right, again, or Claude or any of these things, do not put sensitive information into the system. Also, AI promises things to customers, right? What I mean around this is it can begin to have sycophancy, what's classified as sycophancy, right? And begin to hallucinate and all of these things. So again, probing and putting in the right information is going to be really important. And then AI should not be replacing human judgment. Getting back to our teenagers and the 76% consumption that our teenagers are experiencing with these chatbots now, ensuring that it is not a replacement for human judgment, but more so you're utilizing the information to amplify processes, to save time on what you're already doing. So a safe way to use AI, right? Don't paste your personal data. Don't paste financial information in there. Review anytime before you're sending, right? These are basic things that I'm sure that everybody knows. And then treat AI like a draft helper, right? The more that you probe or the more that you give the system, the better the outcome will be. If I say, hey, let's go to McDonald's, it's like, okay, well, which McDonald's is it? When are we meeting? Where are we meeting? All of these crucial things that, in essence, right, when you put that into the AI system and the more information that you're able to give it, the better the outcome will be. So you don't have to get AI right? You can start small, use it occasionally, right, and learn as you go. I don't want people to think that just because the hype is here, that you have to jump onto the hype wagon. Again, a lot of businesses want to do AI automations without having their processes in place. So first, define the problem, understand what the problem is for your business, map out the workflow as it pertains to that problem, and then in what ways can we begin to look at manual processes and how can we overlay AI on top of those manual processes. So this is the future outlook around, AI agents and where everything will be. We'll get into this in just a moment. I want to go over a platform with you all. I'm going to come back to this though. Marvelism, that is essentially an AI agent platform. And we'll go over this in just a moment. But this is essentially 7 AI agent workers that work on behalf of your business outside of something like ChatGPT. This is actual AI workers, right? So from support, sales, I heard a lot of marketing issues today. So marketing, lead generation, I heard lead generation as well. I also heard executive, like admin, so emailing and scheduling and all of those things. Well, this platform has the pre-built workflows, right? And the agents that are ascribed to those workflows. And so we'll go through this in just a moment. So what's next, right? AI is everywhere and it will continue to expand. We've seen AI for grants and proposals. I was actually just working on an AI agent the other day that is essentially a grant writer for a client, right, that wants to scrape the information, understand what grants are readily available for their organization, and then have the AI agent actually do the outlining, not the full writing, but the outlining and helping them get to the first phase of the grant. So there's, AI for grants, AI for marketing, AI for everyday operations, social media, right? AI within software that's now becoming AI augmented, right? Are we moving from software as a service to AI as a service? These are some final thoughts just around, the AI side of things. We'll come back to this, but I want to open it up for specific questions before I dive into the platforms themselves. Right, yes, go ahead, Trina. Yeah.
Dee, my question is, because I do interact with AI, could we, in regards to the grants and the proposals, could we say something like act as a grant writer or act as an executive, and then it will spit out whatever? And also, in regards to personal information, I noticed that you said do not input the numbers, but for me, if I need like totals or I need something incorporated in something, I do utilize AI for that. And I'll put specific numbers, but no name or anything like that. No name, address, or any pertinent information. But sometimes the business, is that doable?
Yes, so on the numbers side of things, as long as the data is anonymized, you're perfectly fine, right? So anonymizing your data is really important. We can also talk about PII, or personally identifiable information. I train my clients on that as well. But of course, you're not going to put your social and all of that information in there, but even as far as your name, address, date of birth, all of these things that are indicators, do not put that information in there, but you can definitely have anonymized financials, those types of things in there. As far as the personas, AI does very good at mimicking personas, but it does not have lived experience. And so it's great at being able to take on the role of something. But again, that human intervention is crucial to be able to make sure that it's personable and authentic. Yeah.
Does that have also to do with its training as well too, how well it's able to act like a particular role or individual?
Yeah, so when we talk about ChatGPT, right, ChatGPT is essentially a text corpus. And what that means, a text corpus is essentially, it has scraped the internet, everything that is readily available or publicly available, to create a corpus, right, to where now you can query and ask questions. So in that instance, yes, it has scraped information to act as a grant writer, right, and has an idea of what that grant writer is, but does not have the lived experience of a grant writer. Does that make sense?
So what's the difference between like Gemini and ChatGPT? Like, what's the better model? What's the better? But yeah. How would you-
Yeah. It's almost like, Amazon versus like Alibaba type thing, but I don't think that's a real good comparison.
No, it's not.
Alibaba is not. But it's the race, right, that's happening right now with corporate America.
Is there one better than the other, or is it just?
I will not ascribe tools. You will never hear me in my class ascribe tools, right? I will ascribe this platform, because again, it's one of the only platforms that are actually built out with AI agents for small businesses, right? As opposed to you having to go and actually build out a whole workflow automation. Yourself through something like N8N, right? So before there was N8N, there was Zapier. How many people are familiar with Zapier, right? To where you zap that automation, right? Things are very costly around Zapier. Well, gone is Zapier, and now we're moving into agentic AI workflows. So everything that I'm talking about as far as the AI agents themselves, right? If people want to build custom AI agents for their business, this is the platform to do so, and we would be more than happy to assist you in building out those custom AI agents. I built it for construction, I built it for legal, I built it for, a multitude of different businesses just around like even marketing and different things like that. So this is, the actual workflow itself, and then you building that out versus Marvelism that already exists and has the AI agents that are built out for you, to where instead of you having to build, deploy, test, manage the instance, manage, right, all of that stuff in this system, Marvelism does that for you. And so to your point, right, is there one AI system that's better than another? I will not ascribe a specific system. It is solely, I don't like to think of tools, right? So let's get out of the mindset of AI tools, because there's 1,000,001 AI tools out there. But what specifically is your problem, and how can AI, if AI is even needed in that instance, right? Because a lot of times businesses want to adopt AI or an AI system whenever their native workspace already has that capability. Or maybe, it's not AI that's needed at that moment as well. So I won't say a system is better. What I will say is that there are native systems to workspaces. So Google, Gemini, right? Microsoft, Copilot, and a lot of businesses want to go and start adopting other AI tools outside of their workspace. When I would say just start within your workspace. Start within the problem, the processes, and your own tools that you're already using before you start adopting a multitude of other tools. A lot of businesses don't understand that Gemini in the Google Workspace has a lot of features, right? From AI, from admin to finance to marketing follow-ups, to all of these things that are pre-built into the system already, that a lot of businesses will then go and adopt a Gamma, or go and adopt, well, I guess Gamma is more PowerPoint, but go and adopt, a multitude of other tools outside of just the Google Workspace. So I'm not going to say that one tool is better than another. I will say that working with tools that are native to your system, understanding what AI is and defining that problem, is really what businesses need to focus on, as opposed to the tools that they're using.
So I do have personal experience
why do that? Different AI systems like Gemini, DeepSeek, ChatGPT. And when I asked the same question, they give me totally different answers. So I don't have a clarification what I asked the legal, question, because I'm not expert, attorney. How can we know the clarifications? Like ChatGPT is good for that. I know, I'm a Mandarin speaker. I know DeepSeek is the most, accurate translator in Mandarin words other than ChatGPT and Gemini. I know that, but other, area, I don't not have that ability.
Yeah. So if you are researching, if you are writing, if you are ideating, if you are organizing, right? ChatGPT is very good for research purposes. It's sticking there. I only go to ChatGPT, and otherwise I'm in the AI agent platform the entire time, right? Because those AI agents are workers that are working on behalf of my business. So I have my executive assistant, I have my social media manager, I have my blog writer, I have my legal representation, I have a lead generation, I don't know if I said that. But what I use ChatGPT for is strictly for research purposes, right? Being able to collate sources. It's really good at identifying sources and piecing those together as well. But anything outside of research, preliminary writing, it's also great for long form writing, right? So Gemini, you're not going to be able to write, you can, but it will take you a lot longer to try to write a book in Gemini or a book in Claude, right? OpenAI has the long form content for you to be able to do an entire book, research, collate the sources, do all of those things. So I would say research, writing, right, organizing, outside of anything that has to do with automations or workflow automations, right? Being able to use something like a ChatGPT, a Claude, a Gemini is great. If you're looking for more long form content, ChatGPT is the best. And then for research purposes, of course, ChatGPT and Claude. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, if you don't understand English well, do you guys give like training? Or, because it's already, sometimes when you say the word,
Yeah.
they don't the ChatGPT doesn't understand what you say,
Mhm.
So do you guys do like a training for people that doesn't speak a good English?
Yeah, so through Seattle colleges, we're working with their post-secondary program. English as a second language is one of the kind of key components of that, so I can give you that information. But it's all around starting with prompt engineering and ensuring that you're putting the right information into that box. And then how do we move into, AI augmentation and AI agents. So yeah, I'd be more than happy to give you that information.
Okay.
And we do a lot of training, so be it on like workforce boards. I was literally 4 hours ago, and 9 o'clock this morning, I was doing a training for the SBDC. So all of the SBDCs across the state of Washington, I was training them on AI this morning, right? And so we do everything from small business to workforce boards, SBDC, whoever that may be.
I'm sorry,
Any other questions?
SBDC
The
acronym?
Small Business Development Center.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
Any other questions? Yes.
You were talking about how you don't want to put confidential information into the platform. Where does that information go? Do you know if it just goes directly to the companies that own it, or is it at all put into the algorithm that could be spit out somewhere else?
Yeah, so I'm gonna clarify something, because it also, is treading this fine line with like plagiarism, which is why whenever I put in the same question that you may put in, we won't get the same results, right? It will give you different information to alleviate the whole notion of plagiarism, right? Now it's scraping, it may scrape the same sources around that information, but how it's wording and putting that information out is completely different, right? And so remind me of your first question, because I touched on the second part, but what was the first question?
I guess it was, I'm kind of wondering, do they also scrape whatever
Oh, yes,
the
yes,
user
yes.
input?
So where does the data exist? Yes. So you have specialists part of OpenAI. So like I was a specialist at Amazon Web Services, right? There are, account managers there. There are solutions architects. There are all these people that are interacting with the client, right? They are not interfacing with the system and fine tuning or fine tuning the system that's there. So there are engineers that are dedicated to, hey, when you put something into the system on the back end, how are we fine tuning this information to better the model, right? So that is somebody's job. Not everybody at the company has access to your information and to the data, right? But there are places or sectors within the company that do for the fine tuning of that model, right? So, you don't have to worry about once you put something in there that it's just gonna be publicly available to everybody in the company. No, individuals with role level access permissions, right? All of these things, engineers, right? There's data, governance that has to be put in place by these companies, in order, around this data as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So again, it's not just in the company, it's being used to fine tune the model by certain workers within the company.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yes.
Could you introduce something about open flow? Now it's most popular. They say they can do one person config by open cloud. But I don't know how to download, how to install open cloud in my computer. So this is the question why I'm here. I'm very curious about it.
Yeah, so, let's get some time, do you have your computer with you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so after this, let's get some time and I can show you how to install. No worries, no worries. Any other questions before we start kind of demonstrating the system? No? Is everything clear to people from the history to the foundation of AI, what AI is, the 3 different types of AI, right? And how it's being applied to small business, well, businesses in general, right? Because multi-billion-dollar companies are doing this as well. So, any questions?
I've got a question about the protection of like creative IP. So if it's, let's say it's portfolio work for an artist or whatever, once it's out on the web, essentially it can be scraped at some point, right? Like, are there guardrails that small business owners or individuals kind of put into place to prevent some of that, to protect some of that IP, or not necessarily in the current setup?
That's a good question. I would say if you don't want it on a billboard, then don't put it in ChatGPT is one thing, right? But then on the flip side of that, to your point, anything that is publicly available can be scraped, right? And so that means that it's living on the internet. So even if you have your artwork on a landing page and it's your landing page, right, that information can still be scraped. And so if it exists online, then it can be brought into the text corpus and leveraged to query. So regardless, right, if it exists online, that's the case.
Okay.
Within the settings, if you have it set to not use your data to strengthen are you saying it's still at risk of being utilized or, seen just by those developers or whoever in the back end that are using it?
Yeah, so that's now you're in the system and you're using it versus like scraping information around that outcome, right? So like you saying that the system shouldn't be using the data that you're putting in there versus you searching for something and it's scraping to get the outcome that you're looking for are 2 separate things, right? And so yes, you can turn on those internal credentials to be able to not have the model itself be fine-tuned on your data, but it's still scraping whatever is readily available on the internet to use the outcome. Any other questions? Perfect. How are you all feeling? Good?
Good.
Okay. So I heard some things around marketing. I heard some things around admin. I just want to get by a show of hands as well. How many people are looking to like build their own AI agents, workflows, and internal systems themselves versus, right? And this can be for people that have proprietary data, right? Are dealing with a lot of compliances. I know that there's some finance people in here with FERPA and all of those things. This would be more for you, actually building out your own internal workflows and building a custom agent versus utilizing a platform that has agents and you're still putting your information in there. So by show of hands, are there people that are interested in one versus the other in this? Yes, okay. So let's go over first Marvelism. I'll put the link back up for people to just be able to scan. Where is this? So if people want to scan that, I'll leave that up, and then I'll also leave it up after as well, so you all can take a look at this. Leave it up for just a few more seconds for people. Yes.
What are the time and costs of making an agent, like an actual functioning agent?
Yeah, so it depends on what exactly your problem is, right, and how you're defining that problem. Because something like a grant writer or an RFP writer is a lot less complicated than trying to build a whole executive assistant that's, tailored specifically to your company. So again, it just depends on what exactly you're wanting to do and if it's multi-agent or if it's single agent, right? Being like, are there multiple workflows that are coming together to do one agent? Or is it a multitude of agents that you're needing to do different jobs, right? And so really being able to define what that problem is, if it's one problem or whatever that may be, and then working backwards from that. But NAN alone costs $17 a month. To host the agent itself, it would be about $35 to $40 a month for the instance or the compute, right, to be able to run and deploy the instant or the agent. And then you would probably be incurring, some other like backing costs with like potentially AWS and things of that nature. So I would say probably about anywhere from like $100, probably like $150 a month. And that's to operate it. Does that answer your question, Deanna?
So would this be essentially, would you recommend that if you sign up for that, you get rid of your ChatGPT or your Gemini?
So I would not get rid of ChatGPT because, again, we're moving from search engine optimization to AI optimization, right? Meaning like when you search, and so I say that to say ChatGPT is very good for research purposes and long form content. So I wouldn't say, again, these AI agents are proactively working on behalf of your business, but are still restricted to only do the job that they're set to do, right? So the executive assistant cannot do anything outside of answering my emails, following up with my emails, looking at my emails, and doing the scheduling. That's it. Anything else outside of that, Eva's not doing. And so I would say keeping ChatGPT, right? And then being able to leverage this platform in addition to ChatGPT. Because these are actual workers that are working on behalf of your business to do the executive assistant work, to do the social media management, right? All of those things, as opposed to you being able to create content, ideate, research, collate sources, do all of those things with ChatGPT.
Makes sense. I have a question about the marketing part. Like when sometimes people will send you personal message, so ChatGPT, the platform will answer the question?
Yes, and we'll go through this. We'll walk through this in just a moment. I don't respond to any of my emails. Every email that I have is a draft. So as soon as somebody sends me an email, Eva has already looked at every single email that I've sent in my inbox and then crafts it based in my language, how I speak, in the drafts. Right, and then not only that, we'll not only compose the message, but we'll also look at my calendar and then suggest times that I'm available based in my calendar. So, and then do all the booking and follow up and all of that stuff for me. So that's just the it's just the executive assistant. So we'll go through that in just a moment. Any more general questions before we actually hop into the platform? We're good? Awesome. So let's get into marketing. I guess that there's a GeekWire AI Summit, that, Eva added to my calendar as well. That came in about 12:30 from Tanya with the SDDC. But I guess I've been invited to an AI Summit on agents of transformation through GeekWire. Right? But I say all of this to say, as emails are coming in, Eva is constantly scraping my emails, categorizing exactly what they are in folders, right? I don't think I'm logged into my Gmail on this computer because this isn't my computer, but I can also log into my Gmail so you all can see. Not only does Eva respond to this in the system, but also categorizes and organizes all of my emails as well, right? So I had about over 3,000 emails that have now been categorized, put in folders, and then any emails or correspondences that are coming in from WDC, the Workforce Development Council, or WorkSource, or whatever, my clients are now being filtered into those files as well and all organized by Eva. So not only the organization, the scraping and understanding of what's in the inbox, but also the scheduling and proactively working to respond to the emails as well. So all of this are, calendar events and highlights, everything that I'm, a part of. I get daily reminders from Eva on who I need to follow up with, the tasks that I have on that day based on my calendar, right? And then being able to directly interface with this and get her to either, there's another one with Joy Hollingsworth, to get her to schedule an email as well on behalf of my company. So I want to pause for specific questions around Eva, and then we can get more into like a demo. I want to be able to make this as easy for you all. Yeah.
How quick did it take you to be comfortable with Eva's responses for you?
Yeah, so it takes about, I would say 3 to 4 months for it to fully understand. Right? Because again, it's constantly learning. So it's learning on the data set that already exists, but then also over time, what you're pressing send on. And so it took about 3 to 4 months to fully adopt the way that I talk completely without me having to change like literally any words. Yeah. And now how do you set this up? Right? So all of this, oh no, let's see here.
I have one question in the back.
Yes, please.
Well, I was just gonna ask, is it responsive when you make edits, or do you have to like go in and change? So like if you make edits to your email responses, will it remember that directly for the next one?
Yes,
Okay.
so it puts it in there as a draft, and then any updates that you make, and it knows exactly what that is, and then sending that, it knows exactly what that email is and can categorize it as well. So let's say you follow up and you say, yes, that sounds good, let's get scheduled next week at 10 o'clock a.m. on Tuesday, right? It's recalling that it will actually create every event that I have now. I have Eva create an event on my calendar. So, every email that I have Eva create an event on my calendar, because I get so many emails of people saying, hey, join us next week for this, or, this event is happening here, or, whatever that is, and there's no calendar invites, right? There's no calendar for me to accept the invite. So Eva now takes it upon herself to then schedule all of those community events, to schedule all of those things that are just randomly coming into my account as well. And so I say that to say, yes, if you edit, if you respond back, it understands and then can reply accordingly. Yes, sir.
Could you put a limit to how far you have to go to these different meetings? So I know you live in Seattle, but you're here in Tacoma right now. So you don't want to have to go across the country to go to a meeting. So can you make sure that Eva doesn't have you flying all over the place?
Yes. So being able to differentiate between my Indiana clients and my Washington clients.
Exactly.
Yes, Eva can definitely do that as well, and has categorized that within my email inbox.
Cool.
So let me log in here. Awesome. So let me just reconnect this really quick. So all of this is happening through API connections. Okay, perfect. So here you can see that Eva is only allowed to manage my inbox into draft emails. And so anytime that somebody gets set up with the Marvelism platform, it is very simple, right? We've tried to design it and keep it as simple as possible as far as you just being able to connect. How I just connected my Gmail is how you all will do it. You either connect your Gmail or your Microsoft account directly to the system, and then everything else is back-end API connections. So managing your inbox, you actually have to authorize, right? So there is an authentication layer here, right? To which you're authorizing Eva to go in and read, compose, and send emails from my account. I have it in the system to not allow her to send, so it then just puts it as a draft. I can then edit and send myself. So I'm gonna continue there. All right, we'll reauthorize this as well. And which I'm reauthorizing Eva now, right, to manage drafts and send emails. So anything outside of those 4 functions, she's not doing. She's not taking control of my inbox. She's not able to just send emails willy-nilly, right? I have her draft them, put them in my drafts, and then I can go. So I have a Gmail account, so I have my Google here. There's also Outlook, and then if you have another email provider, you can also add that as well. You can see the abilities here, right, to respond, get notifications, meeting updates, newsletters, all of these things, right? So you can go in and label. All of this stuff is very simple once you log on to the platform. You essentially just say exactly what you want to use Eva for, right? And then you're able to label accordingly, or it labels it for you, and then you can add labels accordingly. The calendar, right? So that was my inbox and me authorizing Eva to be in my inbox. This is my calendar, so I can authorize Eva to manage my calendar events. And then this is still loading, but picking the calendar. In this workspace, you can have multiple businesses. So if somebody has more than one business, or maybe they have multiple people part of their business, and want to use this platform as well, you can also have individual logins and drop downs to be able to switch in between different profiles. So here I have info at the Data Guys, but I can also connect DeiMarlon at the dataguys.org. I can connect any other platform part of my workspace here as well. Any questions on Eva? Yes.
I may have missed this, so if it's a repeat, I apologize, but is there, you said that there's like drafts, right, things for you to review, but I want to say she is scheduling for you, right? How do you create that? What are you doing to filter that? Is there like a holding tank? Do you have to approve that so that it's not just all of a sudden you're like committed to things that you don't want to be committed to? Like, what is that process from this to that in between?
Yeah, the human intervention.
Yeah.
So you do have to approve that, right? So that's why I said having her, right? I mean, Eva's a person, right? It's like Eva, that's a name, no. But yes, having the agent draft the email and then just sitting in my inbox in drafts. And then from there, I edit and then send. So regardless of, whether or not the time is available or not, I'm still checking the email before it goes out because I don't have Eva sending my emails for me. And that's the same thing with scheduling, right? So when I would send that, I would have checked already to say, hey, we're confirming this day or this day works for me or whatever that is. Eva understands that and then books that time accordingly. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Any other questions here? So I just want to, so I got this email this morning about Bobby, and, kind of board-related things with the Black-owned Business Excellence Group. And so again, that was automatically added to my calendar, because we're meeting, right after the GOBI meeting at 11:30 to go over like governance and all of this stuff and being able to kick off the board. So again, anything that has to do with scheduling, I have that automated, the follow-up emails, and then also daily reminders, right? So having a calendar audit on exactly what it is that I need to do for today, right? Who I need to follow up with and any upcoming events, right? I get a daily snapshot of that. So that I can put everything together and not have to worry about going to different platforms trying to collect this. So I want to pause for specific questions on the executive assistant side of things. Yes.
Could you give Eva access to like Asana to then be able to add your action items to that list as well, or?
Yes. So within that, right, there are automations that we can set up, and we can talk more about this. So yes. So it's not connecting directly to your Asana, but there are ways in which when you get a trigger or a notification through Asana into your email, it can take care of that for you by way of Asana. So it's not directly like it can connect to your Gmail or connect to your calendar, but it can respond and follow up with that automation trigger for you. And we're working on that, right? So those are next steps, is to be able to add in more project management tools and things of that nature outside of just your workspace. Any other questions? Awesome. So let's get into social media. This again is a dummy account for me, you all, and shameless plug. I hate saying this because I don't even like really, but definitely use the platform. I'm not biased in any way, right? But definitely use this platform. It's helped me a lot, and then also just a lot of other small businesses as well, being able to have actual AI workers. And this subsidizes about $250,000 that you would be paying out to these workers if they were working on behalf of your business. And then you can also see the total number of hours saved as well, right? In my other account, this is more like closer to 40 hours of time saved in the month, right, of different tasks that have been automated, or manual processes that have been automated. Because again, to get to AI agents, it's automating manual processes. And again, to be able to get there, you have to have the processes in place and define that problem first. So Sunny is amazing at social media. So the social media manager, you go in, you get content ideas. So every day I'm sent these ideas. Let's just say I want to talk about this. So every day at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, you're sent these. I'm just going to Control C this, and let's just say I want to write this. So Sunny's going to do the thinking. While Sunny is doing the thinking, I just want to go over one that has already been written. So once you get the idea, so it's idea generation, it understands exactly what you've already written on, because it scrapes and connects directly with your LinkedIn, it connects with your Twitter, your Facebook, all of these things to take in that information and better understand your business. From there, right, it then generates content ideas that you can write on a daily basis. Right, so it gives you 6 to 10 ideas every day. You can set the time preferences as well. I have mine at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., different times. And you can set the time preference for those ideas to come through. Once the ideas come in, you can then take one of those ideas, have Sunny actually do the writing around that and the publication. So not only does Sunny actually write the content, but then we'll actually publish this information as well. So I think that, okay, this is it right here. And then there was another one up here. So once it finishes, right, it just finished down here. You can see exactly where the posts are, right, and see where it is. So I have 39 drafts, and then I can move these and plan them accordingly across the week, across the month, across the next 6 months, whatever that may be. And so you have posts that you can have here, you can schedule. Let's see if it's gonna connect, because this is my native computer, so hopefully, maybe.
So it just posted for you for LinkedIn?
Yes, so it will post to Facebook, to your Google business profile, to Instagram, to LinkedIn, to all of these different platforms. And it will tailor the content accordingly. So even in LinkedIn, if you're wanting to do carousels, all of those different things, you can do that in LinkedIn versus a newsletter, right? On Instagram versus like a newsletter on something like LinkedIn, versus, just a post on LinkedIn. And it's able to differentiate between those and then publish to those as well.
So I'm managing several different pages. Can it tell the difference between those personas, or is it a one person thing?
So if I'm understanding your question correctly, right, you're using multiple platforms, and if Sunny can understand the difference between those platforms.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm the treasurer for the Industry Writers of American Northwest chapter, so that is one page that I'm managing.
Yeah.
And it has very different content from, say, my business page.
Yes, for sure. So it's all based in that account drop down, right? So you'll connect your email, you'll connect your social media pages, and then based on that, Marvelism immediately starts learning, right? On what type of content. It also asks probing questions once you initially put or connect the system. But yes, able to differentiate once you switch profiles between the different businesses or the different platforms as well. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So it can tell the difference, and it can post for multiple entities.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, and that's all, one, you'll connect the actual system, but then within that, let's cancel this, right, so going back to where we just were here in the settings, so let's connect again, just a second. And this is because this is not my computer, so it's just taking security measures right now. Just a second. But here you can even see switch account, right?
Okay.
So it allows you to have multiple accounts here. So once this is connected, it should have a drop down, yep, and then you can connect another account to the workspace. Yes.
And perhaps it's part of like the guidelines, but is there like the branding side of each of these different posts, especially if you're gonna be having different companies you're gonna be posting for, you want yours to look like it's very curated. Can that be fed into the system proactively ahead of time so they can kind of pull some of those templates or something of that sort? So that way, when folks are going through and filtering and looking through an organization, they'll get a sense of kind of who they are, and there's a branded content rather than a scattershot of a number of different stylistic things, regardless of outside of how the text is displayed. Does that make sense? Sorry.
Yes.
A little bit of a
So
word.
you can input information here, files, information around your business, all of that, and probe the system as well. For any, new things once you've already connected, but also at the front end, before you even connect to the systems, it's asking you multiple questions around who your business is, what your business is doing, all of those things for it to truly understand, right, that I am a data and AI engineering firm, and to only provide data-specific content around your business, specifically as it pertains to social impact. So all of those, like 6 ideas, and then even the 6 ideas before, is all focused on data as a tool for social impact, because it understands my business and how we build data and AI systems that specifically deal with housing, economic development, workforce development, all of those social impact side of things. So yes, you yourself can put in information after the fact to probe it even more and fine tune that, but it's also learning from one connecting, and then at the beginning, before you even do the connection, you're also adding in information around what your business is, who you are, et cetera, your
Brand
website,
guidelines, that
all
kind
of
of
that.
stuff as well.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Hey, what's
Good
up,
to
man?
see you.
Good to see you. So I ever since you did your thing months ago, I've been using Marvelism and I've been using it consistently, especially for Sunny. And it is great. I got to co-sign it. It's great how it posts all the time. But do you know any way to get more people to look at it? Because I like a lot of times now it's like it does a good job of like having different and good topics. But now it's like because we live in a saturated place where now you have a lot of AI people looking at it scrolling. So is there anything that maybe differentiate from stuff? I mean, when you're consistently posting all the time, I do it every day for Sunday for the most part.
What I've had success with, right, and you know, I've had great traction around this. I also use this for my newsletter. So I run a newsletter. It's called Sipping Tea with a Techie. So you can essentially think of like the Wendy Williams of tech. So, you know, all the stuff that was happening with Anthropic and Donald Trump, we won't get political, right? But I publish on those types of things, like what is the tech tea news? And so I use this all the time for my tech tea news. And what I found is that the pictures that are in here are terrible, right? And so you have to curate your own pictures, and then the content gets better over time, right? So now I don't have to do as much editing to this, right? You get words, the diction is always a thing, right? Where you're using words like robust and things of that nature. Granted, that has been taken completely out, but then also the syntax, right? So there's diction or word choice, and then there's syntax and how a sentence is structured. And so that long form dash, the M dash, right? That is not, you can tell with somebody whenever they have that M dash. And so being able to diction and syntax as well is really important, but this system learns over time. So for me, what I had to do was substitute the pictures, most definitely, and then in doing that, also kind of curate the language a little bit more to start, and then that led to, you know, where we are now, with me not having to do many edits at all, except for these horrible pictures.
Yeah, I had that problem with the pictures too, I understand.
Yeah, and the problem with that, I've already spoken with leadership around this as well, is that the system in which it's trying to create, right, is not pulling from like a Midjourney or a Dolly or, you know, other platforms as well. It's its own curation of image, and so being able to step outside of that, and so we're working to fine tune that, but I would say definitely the pictures, getting rid of those and leveraging the content and the structure, right? So this is now saving you time from publishing, right? Being able to publish to multiple platforms, organize everything in one place, right? See it and plan it accordingly, right? So there's a lot of other features outside of just the images that I would leverage this platform for. Yes.
Ladies first.
I was just gonna piggyback a little bit on your question, and what I'll say is, AI is here, and I think, as like a culture and society, people know that folks are using it. And I think people definitely embrace AI use on the side of like productivity, automating things like cutting down on administrative time. But we still kind of are in a point with AI where the same communities and culture and society are also hostile to when AI is like clockable, so to speak. And so kind of like what Dee was saying, like I think you like this can help you to generate the content, to generate the newsletter, to generate the social media posts. But like I think we've all seen instances in which like, you know, a graphic or an image looks like AI slop, so to speak, right? And so I think it helps you to create the content that you then will use, but you still want to try to find ways to have a human touch to your engagement and building the audience piece of it to get people to be more malleable to it. And so I don't know what yours looks like, obviously, but like I know for me personally, because in addition to my role with the city, I'm also like an artist and I do a whole bunch of other stuff. And when you can readily tell that a piece of content or an image is, you know, generated with AI, a lot of people will just scurry on past, right? And so I think it's helpful to use this so that you could be more consistent, but still find ways in which the pull or the grab or the whatever still has that like organic human touch to it, so that it's enhancing, versus, entirely being the like entire strategy, because like Dee said, you're still gonna have to like edit things. And I'm rambling, and I can also say on the other side of this, as an administrator of large programs, and say like last year when we had our like big grant program and things like that, and we had applications that had long form responses on the application, I could always tell when someone essentially just gave the question to the bot and said, hey, come up with the answer for this, without it having much specificity, much uniqueness to it, and it's just answering it on a base level. And I think the same can be said when you're creating social media content and strategy using these agents.
For sure. And the specificity piece, again, what you're putting into the system. If I just say I want to go to McDonald's, that doesn't help anybody. But I need a time, a date, all of these things. So the more you probe the system, the better. But going back to this too, and what you were saying, how you can make something more personable and authentic, you can say that, right? So oftentimes whenever I've generated or outlined something in ChatGPT, and we can also do the same thing in this system as well, I'll say, okay, well, this is great, well-researched. You can even add in, we'll make this more, well-researched, add data, add context, right? Make this more personable, authentic, write this as a human, right? And then it will literally take on that persona and make it much more authentic and take out words like robust and all of the other issues as well. You can do the same thing with that here. If you felt that, at any time, of course, we can go in and see this. This, right? So of course I would immediately get rid of this, right? And this is the social media manager, not the blog writer. The blog writer is for long form content. The social media manager is for short form content. So you can add in your media here, right? Waiting 90 days to see if your funding is actually making a difference. That's not a strategy, that's an autopsy. For too long, public funding has been trapped in the quarterly report cycle. You spend 3 months doing the work, another month chasing data, and by the time the report hits the desk, the information is already a ghost. We're leading a trust revolution. At the Data Guys, we manage over $400 million in public investments. We're helping organizations move from 90-day lag times to real-time transparency. Why? Because real-time dashboards aren't just about flashy charts. They're about accountability. They're about knowing right now if a small business got its grant or if a community program is reaching the right families. When you have real data, or real-time data, you don't just report on the past, you steer the future, right? So, all in all, right, this is written pretty well. But again, still going in here and fine-tuning and making this a bit more personable before I would publish something like this, for sure. But again, helping from everything from the ideation to the actual content creation, to the publication, the scheduling, and then the multi-scheduling on different platforms is all taken care of in this system. Yes.
So
I'm sorry.
no, ladies first.
Oh.
Okay.
Did you get to ask your question after Deidre though?
I will.
No, go
After
ahead.
you.
We can go that side, this
Okay.
way. We're going in line.
So where are you publishing your content? LinkedIn, Instagram, X?
Yeah, LinkedIn is my go-to. I believe in doing something well in one area instead of trying to go to multiple different platforms. And so I've seen my greatest success with LinkedIn. Right, I've been able to grow my following to over 10,000, and then also have my newsletter, right? So I would probably say LinkedIn.
Okay, thanks.
And again, understanding your audience and what you're trying to do. So a lot of our work is very business related, right? Like something like this, I will post pictures on Instagram, right, and things like that around an AI class that I taught, do a little quick snippet. But something like LinkedIn would be much more longer form content, key takeaways from this session, something, right, that's tangible that I will be providing to you all as well at the end of this session. But things like that live on LinkedIn that's much more business related as opposed to the fun around the business.
So I got to follow up. So I'm streaming you live to my YouTube channel. Can you take that and cut it down to different pieces and disperse those pieces into different platforms?
Yes, so you can add video to this.
Okay.
Yeah, any media, be it photos or, video, yes, you can add that in here,
And
and
here
then
being-
publish that to different platforms.
And here being LinkedIn, and here being your AI agent, or what?
Yes, and and then the length of that is restricted to whatever platform you're using.
Okay.
Right, so I know with like Instagram, I think it's like a minute and a half, 3 minutes or something like that, versus LinkedIn, that's much longer form content, up to 10 minutes.
Okay.
So yes, you can do video as well.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Can, make agents speak with each other? Like, I've been using Marlin for a while, so I wanted Sudden to see what Penny wrote, they create social media from that blog. I was having trouble having them connect within the platform. I was having to like download it and re-upload it into, Sudden in order for them to be able to create that.
Yeah, so, there's definitely retrieval within the chats themselves, but the ability for the agents to actually talk to each other is still a working process, right? And that technology is still being built out. What you can do, right, is, as you mentioned, upload whatever you've been working on in one, right, and then associate that with another. But actually, the best example of this is that anytime after the receptionist gets done taking a call, and there's like a booking or some type of time or whatever that is, the receptionist automatically communicates with Eva to be able to do any scheduling, to do follow-up emails and all of that stuff. So is that kind of what you're thinking of, and now trying to do that within the social media side of things?
Basically.
Yes, so again, it's two separate types of content. One is long form content and one is short form content. And so once you're in that system, right, it's specifically tailored to deliver long form content or short form content. So they're not talking to each other. Now you can take the ideas, right, and write on the same idea in each, but as far as, you know, them actually talking to each other like the receptionist and the executive assistant, that doesn't happen because it's two styles of writing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So this is separate because the receptionist is actually booking and working with the executive assistant around booking, scheduling, emailing, right? The social media manager is not working with the blog writer to create long form content. It can ideate, right? So share ideas, but not the same content there. Yes.
I have a question / observation. I'm trying to be succinct. So in the last 3 years, I have really noticed on this, so I do marketing, graphic design primarily with like yoga studios, wellness stuff like that. And it's gotten to where it's like everything looks the same. The order of things looks the same. And I know I'm always working on it. I just learned about the M- thing recently because I hadn't really thought about that. And so now I'm like, oh shit, gotta take all the M- out. Right? So I guess what I'm wondering about is just like, what's the best way I can give an example? I have a 15-year-old musician artist, right? And the kids are really now into analog because they've been raised and have digital. And so that's kind of a curated thing. And I'm just wondering maybe this is a future thing, if the mistakes are what mistakes are going to be what brings the humanity in. Because if the juice isn't, you got to have heart, right? If you don't have the heart and whatever it is that you're doing, then that juice isn't there, then it's definitely two-dimensional. But I'm just kind of wondering about that because if it's learning how you are, how you write, and keeping the mistakes, you know, I speak and write in very detailed, long run-on sentences, but that's part of what's my tone with stuff. So anyway, I'm just kind of curious about that because if everything's perfect all the time, I think that's the dead giveaway. If the order is always the same and it's kind of like, I don't know, stock art, AI art, I kind of see them as the same versus original content. So to keep that idea, that original content. So where do you see that kind of meeting in there? I've had my own things be, you know, I put them in the readers to see like, oh, does this sound like it's on AI or ChatGPT? And it's been my own writing. And it's almost like those things will demote you if you actually for once write a decent piece, you know? So anyway, I'm just kind of curious about that interaction because I kind of feel like we're all just selling each other AI written stuff all the time now. And so when that gets saturated, what's next? to differentiate? What's the next evolution?
Yeah, that's a good question. I want to preface that AI is only as good as the person that's using it, right? And so somebody that is skilled in art, for example, right? I understand data and AI. Believe it or not, I was actually classically trained in ballet, did like musical theater and all that stuff, but let's just go like physical art because I know nothing about like art pieces, right? And different types of art. But somebody that understands that, right? And is able to apply their knowledge and what they know to an AI system versus somebody that doesn't, that's just saying, hey, create this 3D piece of art for me or create this for me, as opposed to giving context and probing exactly what it is that you're looking for, providing historical context, providing all these things that an artist, right, would have some understanding around. That is going to be a different outcome than me just saying, create this piece for me, right? And so I say, yes, AI generated content is everywhere. AI is here, right? But it's only as good as the person that's using it, and how they're also educated around that field, right? So my thing is somebody that's trying to go into the system and map out data processes is going to be a bit different than me sitting down, mapping out in the system, going over their data processes. And so I would say, yes, AI generated content is here. It's here to stay. It's nothing new, right? But it's up to us to provide that human intervention and make it more personable and authentic, right? And to use it as a tool to tighten and refine, and not as that crutch to lean and depend on, right? So it's not us just putting into ChatGPT or an AI system, hey, give me this outcome. No, it's give me this outcome and then assessing exactly what that is, right? And then fixing that accordingly. So I'm not saying that this system is just a system that is just set up and good to go in any AI system. Being able to check that beforehand is crucial. Right, but going back to what you said, AI is only as good as that person that's using it, and somebody that's much more educated in a field and can apply that to how they're prompting and getting the outcome is better set up than somebody that doesn't know what AI is or doesn't know about that field itself.
Yeah, it does. And I have a follow-up question. I like that follow-up question.
Okay.
What mistakes have you, or things have you altered that you've noticed in it? When has it not sounded like you, and what have you done? Like, what are some, I would just love to see a couple examples of when you're like, okay, this is off.
Yeah.
It sounds like me, but it doesn't. It sounds like what you think I sound like.
Yeah. I feel like that's typically any first iteration that you like drafted something around, and then you say, make this more personable, make it more authentic, right? Write this as a human, right? To give it that personable effect. I can show you some examples. I'm not logged into my ChatGPT right now, but I would say, and I can do that here in just a second, but I would say definitely whenever you first are writing something, right? And then for me, it's going back in and, adding, hey, make this more humanistic, write this as a human, make it more personable, right? But I can show you some more examples once I get logged into ChatGPT. I'm not in that platform, I'm in another platform.
Totally fine. And I noticed an arc with it, like I start with what I sound like, it kind of keeps that, but the more I ask ChatGPT, the more I ask it to do, then it starts to lose it. And then I have to I literally go back and cut and paste, this is what I said. So it's just an interesting process to me. Anyway, I'm done. No more follow-up.
Yeah, and we can talk more about that as well, because it's all around prompting, right? And how you're forming that sentence, what you're putting in that box to get the outcome that you're looking for, right? So if you're not getting the outcome that you're looking for, it's something in how you prompted the system, right? And so I would say starting with the prompt engineering piece, and we can go over it without me seeing exactly what you're talking about. I'm assuming that it is a prompting issue from the front end, or the information that you're putting in is getting lost, right? Or maybe not being conveyed. But we can definitely set up some time and I can go over it with you. Yeah.
I was just gonna add, as a third grade teacher, I think I go back to task, audience, and purpose. Like, know what you want to do, who you're writing to, and then what the purpose of it is. And I would also say, like Dee said, it took him 4 months for this to do what he wants to do, and he knows what he's doing, right? So you gotta understand that it's gonna take time to get to the optimization that we're all looking for, and it's a back and forth learning opportunity, I think.
For sure. Thank you. I saw a hand over here too.
Yeah, if I could add to that, you've got 10 hours saved, this gave you a start. The rest of it really to be intentional about embedding your voice in the starting page.
For sure. And that's why I said, you know, of course, it's what you probe, right? But this is a system that brings everything together. So gone are you having to go into LinkedIn, publish it, generate the content ideas, right? Write on that. All of that can be done in one place now. And yes, you will have to fine tune exactly what that content is. But again, it's learning over time and adapting to be able to, for you to be able to write with. Any other questions around the social media manager? And then I'm gonna move into the blog writer. My favorite is the sales associate because for people that are looking for lead generation, it's very helpful. Any other questions around the social media manager?
One last quick one. It can handle organic as well as paid social as well too, comfortably, or are those different things, just parameters you have to put into it?
Can you elaborate?
So if you're for social media, you know, there's all the organic content that can obviously do that with repetition from a ad sales or like, what does that look like as far as for paid social, like create campaigns, all that kind of stuff as well, just as easily for organic. Right?
Yeah. So all of the content that's generated on the social media and blog side is all SEO optimized. So yes, it can also create ads as well, and then be able to, or add language. So it's not generating the ads themselves, but it can generate content for you to then publish the Facebook ads or whatever that is.
To that, generally speaking, look at engagement before you start to which one you want to promote.
For sure. For sure. Any other questions? Yeah.
If you have a social media platform that it doesn't support, can you work on it in this platform and then post it? Like if it's
Yes.
a video format?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah, and it does take videos, right? So you can do snippets in videos and add that media within, you know, your post itself. So you can add videos.
And can you do it to like the website as well?
Yeah, so like your own blog, website, or whatever that may be. So you would need to create the content here, and then you can publish it to other platforms as well, but not outside of the ones that are there. So you would need to work on it there, and then you can publish it to like a Medium or whatever that may be. Any other questions? Perfect. So the blog writer is all around long form content, right? So the same thing here, let's just do this. I do a lot of work with data sovereignty and working with tribal communities around data sovereignty. So let's talk about this, right? So the same thing, I won't go back through all of this. The same thing from the actual content generation, to the publishing, right, to the scheduling. All of those things can also be done with Penny, who focuses on blogs. So, give Penny just a second there. While we're waiting for Penny, I want to go ahead and talk about the sales associate. How many people are struggling with lead generation? Love it. All right. So Stan is the man. I absolutely love Stan, right? Let me just go through this. Okay, so I just want to show you all this so then you all can see this. Give me just a second. So I've been able to connect with people like the Vice President of Community Relations for Bank of America in Kirkland, Washington, right? And all these different people that are actually verified emails and LinkedIn's So how is it doing this? It's actually scraping or interacting with LinkedIn. And then through LinkedIn, you know you need a verified email address. And so for you to even have a LinkedIn account. And so what it's doing is actually pulling the LinkedIn page and the email that's associated with each of these accounts. So now I can not only ask it exactly what I'm looking for as far as leads, but then it categorizes the leads for me in something that's akin to a CRM or a lead generation tool, right? So I can see exactly who that person is, the company, where they're located, right? Their LinkedIn information, the email address, and whether or not they're categorized as a new lead or one that I followed up with. These are new leads because I haven't followed up with them just yet. And again, this is a dummy account outside of my other account. So you can also set up sequences. So not only can you chat with the interface to get the people that you're looking for, and I'll show you this in just a moment. I'm on the advisory board for iUrban Teen. iUrban Teen is a national STEM plus arts program that focuses on training, certifying, placing youth, right, ages 14 up in the STEM fields, right? So everything from coding to GIS mapping to all of these things that they are literally enabling youth to be able to do. They have their gala that's coming up. And so what I did is, as any board member would do, right, is try to find funding. And so within this, I was actually able to find 26, well, actually it ended up being, I think, 37 leads around this. And then it was able to actually categorize all of the leads for me and then export them as an Excel spreadsheet. So I said I needed key stakeholders across Microsoft, across Amazon, Salesforce, all of these individuals that directly work with, just a second so I can give you all the language that I used. Give me this information. Yeah, so essentially, it was everybody that was corporate social responsibility, philanthropy, all of the people that give, right, to community-based organizations or nonprofit organizations. Of this, I was able to compile all of these emails, send them over to Ms. Dina, right, and have them verified. But not only that, right, I wanted to show you all in LinkedIn, I was able to do the same thing for another community-based organization that does outside activities work for youth in Portland, to which she literally told me exactly what she was looking for. I need contacts from these specific companies. I'm looking for people that are working in these fields. And then I was able to take that information, put it in there, and then also give them leads as well. I cannot see that red.
15 minutes.
Okay. I was like, I cannot see that red. But this is a really good platform for you to not only search, so I want to go through somebody and actually get maybe your ideal client profile, and then we can look up clients for you. And then from there, it actually organizes it, and you can set up a sequence to do all of the email interactions for you. So, and it creates all of the content for you. So any outreach messages, follow-ups, all of those things, you can actually generate a sequence and, do follow-ups with these leads. Another thing that I want to call out is that you can import your leads. So let's say you're using Salesforce or Keep or Monday CRM or whatever that may be. You can actually import your leads directly here and then have them all here to do all of the interaction for you. So Stan can then import your leads and do all of the interaction, check in with them on a monthly basis, whatever it is that you're looking for. So this is your complete lead generation sales tool. So with that, somebody want to give me like their ideal client profile so we can look them up? What's your, I know, who raised their hand for lead generation? Yes.
So I'm an event planner.
Okay.
We were kind of talking about how like I do a lot of marketing locally, but I can also work with remote clients over the US. So
Okay.
maybe like it would probably be like CMOs or head of events with, like, within $1 million or under, annual revenue. Planning,
You said that our CMOs,
yeah, I think the titles are like CMOs, event directors, maybe even like HR,
I'm just gonna say a big,
yeah, who need event planning support.
okay, so I have a client that is an event planner here in Tacoma, Washington. I need leads, for the business. There are CMOs, event directors, events, right? So the ultimate goal is to get you leads to be able to.
Like assist them with their events.
Correct.
So essentially like they hire event contractors.
Are you looking to do corporate events?
Yeah, I do everything but weddings.
Put that in there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, everything but weddings. Yeah, corporate, nonprofit, small businesses.
I was gonna say, please provide, 10 leads here in Tacoma, Washington, specifically. What is the zip code, please? 98, what is it?
We're at 98402.
402. Perfect, thank you. So let's see what it comes up with here. So Stan is thinking, while Stan is thinking, I wanna see what Penny was doing on the blog, right? So now we have Data Sovereignty 101, a guide to mastering privacy by design for tribal nations. So of course I would get rid of this Data Sovereignty 101 image. But then, right, it begins to actually tell the story. For centuries, information has been taken from tribal nations, that's very evident. Whether it was through academic research, government census taking, health studies, data was often extracted, analyzed. So, right, getting into the importance of data at the data guides, what exactly is indigenous data sovereignty, right? Getting into all of that, of course, again, changing these images. But this provides the structure that I need to be able to now either expand the information that is here, fine tune the information that is there, and be able to publish for my next newsletter as well. And so the content itself is not written bad. This is written like I would talk, right? It's just a couple of things that we would need to go in and adjust. And you can see here that it's already linked my website as well, right? Because it has that information to be able to link websites and content around your business as well. So here's a quick summary from the sales associate. So let's see exactly, I've added 6 new leads with emails for the Tacoma. So it looks like Adam Cook with Tacoma Venues and Events. Are you familiar with Adam?
No.
Not yet.
That's the city.
Tammy Bryant, Tacoma Venues and Events, so the Deputy Director, Marketing, Business Development and Programming. You familiar with Tammy?
No.
Not yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
not yet,
Yeah,
not
not
yet. It looks like that Chris Johnson is with InfoBlock, Senior Manager here in Tacoma, Washington as well. I'm not sure exactly what InfoBlocks is or what they do, but that may be another one. Andrea is the Event Manager for Tacoma Venue and Events. And so her information is also here as well. Hannah with Columbia Bank, who's a Senior HR Business Partner. John McLeese with Tacoma Venues, who's the Deputy Director for Event Services in Kirkland, Washington as well. So these are some, right, I don't know if these would be useful for you, but even just contacting these individuals and seeing if there are any opportunities there. And then we can fine tune this a little bit more, we can add in other things, we can pull in different areas, add in different zip codes, whatever that may be, to scrape more leads. On a day-to-day basis, Stan can send 150 emails for your business, and that's the max, right? So 150 emails can be sent. Lead generation can happen, right, on a daily basis. So you think about that, right? In 4 days, you reached out to 600 people, you should get at least one person. Awesome. Any questions around the lead generation? Yes.
So is that just pulled from LinkedIn? Is that where that's all pulled from, or what is
It
that?
does, out in Apollo.io. So when you look at the two systems, LinkedIn and Apollo.io, they are the go-to systems as opposed to, Apollo.io. As opposed to being able to scrape both emails, LinkedIn's, right, all of those things. And so yes, it is scraping LinkedIn in real time, verifying and checking. So again, all of these are manual processes that have been automated. So instead of me going to LinkedIn, clicking on, my name, then clicking on the email address that's associated with it, it's scraping this in real time and cross-checking and verifying, one, that they have a LinkedIn account, and two, that the email that's associated with the LinkedIn account is valid. Any other questions? Yes?
We have a brick and mortar store, so I can see how this works for like business to business contacts, but if you're trying to connect with the public, to have them come to you, this would feel like a big inefficient to be like, hey, you didn't give me access to your email, I'm gonna email and tell you about my basic work. Like, is there an application or a way to apply this tech for that?
Yeah, so just like any other kind of lead generation style, right? So you can scrape or get the contacts here, but I would also say, so let me make sure I understand your question before I answer this. So you're saying, right, that this is business to business, but with you doing brick and mortar.
So like we want people who are interested in cooking, not the person who runs the department of writing for the cooking store.
Right,
You know?
right. And so this will be useful for you all for vendors, right? Or like people that are selling products within your store, right? And being able to find relationships that way. That's how you can use this. Otherwise, the executive assistant, right? And being able to follow up with those individuals, all of that, and even from a social media side as well, and being able to do social media content. But this specifically sales associate is for net new leads, right? So how do you actively search and message individuals that could, provide business for you? So in your instance, it would be much more on the vendor side.
So I have a question to add on to that, 'cause, I mean, I feel like to get kind of in the same boat, like to get people to events, I want like just normal people. So is there a place where, like, let's say I had, 100 LinkedIn friends, like, would I be able to get their information? And then like, is there a way to maybe DM them? So I'm thinking like if they could find customers who are interested in cooking on Instagram, like, is there a way they could get those usernames to DM them? 'Cause like, that's something I would use as well. Like, hey, I have an event coming up, or we have a store opening, like, would you like to come? Is there a way to do that, or is that like protected information?
Yes, so you can definitely scrape them, right, and get the LinkedIn information, and then email them directly with your executive assistant.
Okay, so you can't DM or like, cause like, I'm thinking like people on Instagram don't have their emails, so if you're like, oh, I have 100 followers, I wanna DM them to say, come to my event on Tuesday, like, I
Right.
don't really do that.
So that would be a separate tool
Okay.
inside of Instagram, right? So you gotta remember with the sales associate, it's just interacting with LinkedIn.
Just LinkedIn.
Right, and around that, because it's the largest, platform as far as business and email out there, so that's why it's using LinkedIn. And so, yes, it will take in that information and then respond, with the LinkedIn's and the email addresses, to which you can then email with your executive assistant. Awesome. Yes,
Can I ask a question about the receptionist?
yes.
So how is that somehow answering your phone, or what
It
is
does,
that?
right? And
Okay.
so all of this is, again, kind of free part of this. So, can somebody take out their phone, please? Well, I'll just do it. Like it make calls for you. Yes, so it can make calls for you. You just have to actually tell it exactly what you're looking for. And then you put that in the prompt, right? So I could say, call this number for me, check in and see when their availability is, and then you'll book the time. Yeah. Any other questions? I know I have said a lot, does this all make sense to people, right? We covered a lot, from AI to the foundation, the history, the 3 types of AI, right? And then further diving into an AI agent-specific platform. If any of you all want to talk about, right, what it looks like to create your own AI agents for your business, we'll be more than happy to do that. And then also, I just wanted to put this back up, I know we're at time, but for you all to be able to get in contact with me, if you can take the time to actually do this survey. The survey gives me your information, right? Yes, I get the data. And then from that, right, I will follow up with you all with an actual AI playbook that will have 50 different prompts in there for you all to be able to take in as well. A tool list, right? There's 1,000,001 different tools out there, but how do we begin to silo them accordingly? And then a 30-day roadmap that can actually help in implementing some of these AI tools as well, based on the needs of your business. And then I also have AI office hours that are free and open to community. So if you have a conversation, 30 minutes to an hour, we can also just talk about you all's AI needs as well. But thank you so much, Keisha, for this opportunity.
Back up, but before you guys leave, I did want to share, give them another round of applause. So if you like this workshop, we do have another one coming up. It's not yet listed, but will be soon. So I just wanted to give folks a heads up. We are going to have on April 21st, it's a Tuesday, I believe that's another Tuesday, from 2 to 10, and we're going to be here, but I think we're actually going to be in the larger room. And it's going to be in partnership with a local business here that's based in Tacoma, and she is going to tell you guys her business. She is literally going to go through her P&L, and she's going to talk about what businesses actually bring in and where the money goes. She has tons of experience managing a business. She just purchased a commercial building. She has a deep knowledge in operating a small business here in Tacoma, and so she has offered to come in and give her insight of being a business, from financing, from growing the business, from multiple locations, to, like I said, purchasing large commercial real estate. So we're really excited to have her. So that's going to be on April 21st from 2 to 10 here at the library, and we'll be sending that information soon. And then again, for those who may have came in after I did our intro, we do have a contract currently with RESB. They're a technical small business advisement firm, and they're doing one-on-one technical assistance and coaching for businesses around finance, accounting, and capital access, but it is time limited. So the application for that assistance closes on the 31st. There's also the same graphic is back there if you're not able to grab it from here. So please try to take advantage of the services that they have available. They're a really great organization, and for none of the businesses will work for them. So we do still have the room. We'll be breaking it down a little bit, but please feel free to kind of talk amongst yourselves, introduce yourselves. No need to, create and run out, but thank you guys all so much for being here. And my cards are also on the table back there.
Wait, please don't move, please. I just need a picture with everybody. It's like 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Good to be seen, huh? Definitely. I'm presenting this week.
What's that?
I'm presenting this week.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'm presenting the Bob Trial this week.
Okay, cool. Looking forward to it. All right. What's up?
So,
Yes, that's okay.
so Marvelism is coming April 16th.
Okay.
So I wanted to make sure I gave you a flyer.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow, yes.
That's the way, honestly, part of our strategy at our company is, we can't play.
Yes. Oh, go ahead. No. Actually, I just want to say, you're
like, absolutely not. So go ahead.
You've been on support Dr. Jackson. I'm at the Tacoma Library. DeiMarlon just did a great example of AI and what he's doing for his business. And so, yeah, my battery ran out though. Anyway, peace. Later.